I'm GAge Peterson, a Utah local and camera enthusiast, and today I want to talk about something that's been on my mind for a couple months now. First of all, I want to start off by saying I came over from Sony to Canon mainly because there was a 4K option, and I was in the middle of wanting to transition to a new camera. I really wanted a full frame camera, but I couldn't get that 4K in Sony without putting down $2,500–3,000. I also really wanted a high photo capability in my camera, and something like the A7S just didn't appeal to me because I don't want to sacrifice all those megapixels just for good video. I'm mainly a photographer. So yeah, I came over to Sony because of 4K, in-body image stabilization, a really high dynamic range, the size, and the fact that it's mirrorless. That just kind of intrigued me. I'd never even heard of mirrorless. Moving back, I really wanted a full frame camera when I bought my A6500. I decided not to because the A6500 had so much that I could utilize. It had the 11 frames a second. I love taking pictures of skateboarding and snowboarding, and I also love filming that. And the fact that it could do 120 frames a second in HD was a no-brainer. It was something that I really wanted. The 4K was just an add-on. I honestly bought it and was like, I'm not sure if I'm even gonna use 4K or the file size is gonna be too big, but honestly, it hasn't been a problem for me so far. And more recently, within the last 2 or 3 months, I've been really trying to push myself to buy a full frame camera, and I have the money to do it. What's on the market right now in terms of Sony full frame cameras just don't appeal to me the most. The A9 would be an amazing camera. I would love to have that camera. But for $4,000, it's just completely out of my budget. I'd much rather spend $4,000 on a really good camera and a really good lens. The next runner-up would be the A7R2. Although it is pretty expensive, it's gone down in price a little bit. It's got a massive megapixel count. It's what, 46? And I could definitely use that, but at the same time, it would just eat up my storage space. 24 megapixels for me is totally fine. It does shoot 4K, but it has massive overheating issues, something I've encountered with even my A6500. Biggest downfall for me with the A7R2 is that it's really slow. I mean, the buffer time obviously is there. If you don't have a fast card, you're gonna be waiting on your buffer for a while, especially if you're trying to pop off a bunch of shots. And the interface in general, I started with the A6500, one of the newest of their cameras, and I didn't really notice the slow interface that much. But when I rented the A7R2 for the wedding I shot, it blew me away how slow it was. Like, just trying to navigate the menu system it's not like crazy slower than my A6500, but it's really noticeable. And it's something that as soon as I was done shooting that wedding, I said, okay, I'm not gonna buy the A7R2. Thinking about it practically in something like a wedding where you need to be on top of your game and you need to be able to shoot another shot right now, it seems silly to waste that shot for something that I'll just use for myself, I guess. If I'm not making money with the camera, it doesn't seem like a good purchase. The final contender was the A7 II. I almost bought it. I was this close to buying one, at least buying a used one, because they're pretty cheap. You can buy them for like $1,000 with a lens if you find them in the right website. But the only problem is it doesn't shoot 4K. It's got the same slow interface that the A7R2 does. Those two things combined made me not want to purchase it at all. Every time I look at it, I'm like, oh, you know what? I could actually do that. It's pretty cheap. And then I have to remind myself that in the long run, it's just not gonna be worth it. I would love a second camera to be able to shoot 4K. Whenever I shoot with multiple cameras, I end up shooting HD on my A6300 or my A6000, and then 4K on my A6500. I can film myself in 4K while I'm getting 4K B-roll. That would be awesome for this type of setup. And here it is. The A7 III has been slightly confirmed on various websites to be in production and to be announced very soon here. The rumors say that it's supposed to be announced in the next month to the end of fall. I've seen just a video on the specs of it, and that one Camera Guy did a great video overviewing just how you could use certain features of it and all the things that have been said about it. Now, basically, what the A7 III is the A9 downgraded. So it's gonna have the joystick, it's gonna have the same A9 body. I hope it has all the same dials on it and also the dual SD card slots. That would be awesome. But it's gonna have the same battery, I think, anywhere from 5 to 7 frames a second shooting. And that's the big drawback from the A9. And I don't need 20 frames a second because I have 11 on this, and that's plenty for me. It's gonna have the same autofocusing system, which is awesome because that has unrivaled autofocusing right now, I believe. I'm thinking that if it's under $3,000, it's definitely something that I would buy. That minusing that extra $1.5 grand or $2,000 maybe, if it comes down to $2,000 off of the A9 would be superb. That would be ideal for me. I'm willing to spend $2,000 on a really, really good camera. So comparing it to the A7R2, you don't get the same megapixels, but you're gonna have faster pictures per second. You're gonna have a faster interface, a much faster interface, hopefully even faster than my A6500. You're gonna have faster buffering, and I really, really want it. I want it so badly. I wanted to say why I'm waiting for the A7 III. The A7R2 is sure appealing, but for the money, compared to how slow it is, it just really isn't worth it for me. If they re-release the A7R2 with just a faster interface, I would probably buy it. I would probably buy it immediately. But the fact is that's not gonna happen. They're not just gonna slightly update one of their cameras. Yeah, I'm gonna wait for the A7 III and let me know what you think you're gonna do if that happens to be the position that you're in as well. I really, really, really want a full frame camera. That's really the whole point of this, is just me waiting to get my first full frame camera. It's been so long, I should have a full frame camera by now. Go out and shoot. Shoot more, shoot when you don't think you can shoot. Force yourself to shoot. If there's something bad about a situation that makes you think you can't shoot, you should probably just look at it a different way and shoot. Because really, the only thing that's holding you back from shooting is you not shooting. So you should pull out your camera and press that shutter button a few times. And really, when I say this at the end of every video, I'm telling myself because I don't shoot nearly enough. Let's do this.